A desert stalemate. The grinding war in southern Palestine. In the grand tapestry of the First World War, a lesser-known struggle unfolded on the scorching sands of southern Palestine. This 6-month standoff between the British Egyptian Expeditionary Force, the EEF, and the Ottoman Army, a brutal ballet of trench warfare and daring desert patrols, exposed the limitations of both sides and foreshadowed the protracted attritional battles to come. The stage for this epic desert drama was set along the Gaza-Beersheba line, a stark landscape already scarred by millennia of conflict. The EEF, fresh from victories in the Sinai Peninsula, aimed to push north and capture Jerusalem, a vital strategic and symbolic objective. The Ottomans, entrenched in well-defended positions, sought to halt the British advance and secure control of the region. In April 1917, the curtain rose on this clash of empires. The EEF, emboldened by earlier successes, launched a frontal assault on the Ottoman stronghold of Gaza. However, their meticulously planned attack faltered in the face of fierce Ottoman resistance and unforgiving terrain. Machine gun fire raked across the advancing British lines, inflicting heavy casualties and forcing a hasty retreat. The initial British defeat marked a turning point. The envisioned swift victory dissolved into a grinding war of attrition. Both sides dug in, constructing elaborate trench networks across the desolate landscape. Skirmishing patrols ventured out under the scorching sun, trading pot shots and vying for control of strategic outposts. The monotony of trench life, punctuated by bursts of violence, tested the endurance of soldiers on both sides. The harsh desert environment added another layer of complexity to the battlefield. Water scarcity plagued both sides, with soldiers forced to ration every precious drop. The relentless sun beat down, turning the sandy plains into an inferno and sapping the morale of troops yearning for respite. Disease, a constant companion in the trenches, further eroded the fighting strength of both armies. Despite the stalemate, neither side was content with simply holding their ground. The EEF conducted daring raids on Ottoman positions, seeking to disrupt supply lines and test enemy defenses. The Ottomans, utilizing their knowledge of the terrain, launched counterattacks, aiming to inflict maximum casualties and maintain pressure on the British forces. The stalemate in southern Palestine eventually broke in October 1917 with the British capture of Beersheba. This tactical victory, achieved through a combination of innovative tactics and a daring cavalry charge, paved the way for the eventual capture of Jerusalem in December. However, the months of stalemate had a profound impact on the war effort. The stalemate serves as a microcosm of the wider struggle on the Western Front, highlighting the brutal realities of trench warfare and the devastating cost of territorial ambitions. It exposed the limitations of both the British and Ottoman armies, forcing them to adapt their tactics and endure the psychological strain of a protracted conflict. The echoes of this desert struggle continue to resonate in military history. The stalemate in southern Palestine serves as a reminder of the importance of logistics and terrain in warfare, the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity, and the enduring human cost of territorial disputes. A web of deceit. The Zimmermann Telegram. In the treacherous tapestry of the First World War, a single message ignited a firestorm of outrage. The Zimmermann Telegram. This clandestine communication, dispatched from Germany to Mexico in 1917, offered a devil's bargain, an alliance against the United States in exchange for lost territories. The telegram, a desperate gamble by the German Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmermann, ultimately backfired spectacularly, drawing a reluctant America into the global conflict and altering the course of the war. Germany, desperate to break the stalemate on the Western Front, sought to exploit American neutrality. Mexico, harboring resentment towards the United States following the Mexican-American War, appeared a potential pawn in a grand geopolitical game. In January 1917, amidst a flurry of diplomatic cables, the Zimmermann telegram emerged from the shadows. This coded message, intercepted by British intelligence, revealed a shocking proposition. Germany, through Zimmermann, offered Mexico a military alliance if the United States entered the war on the side of the Allies. Germany would support Mexico in reclaiming Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico. The telegram's contents were a calculated gamble. Zimmermann, hoping to divert American attention from Europe and draw Mexico into the conflict, underestimated the power of public outrage. When the contents of the telegram were leaked to the American press in March 1917, a wave of fury swept across the nation. The Zimmermann telegram shattered the fragile peace between the United States and Germany. American public opinion, previously hesitant towards intervention, shifted dramatically. The blatant attempt to exploit past grievances and incite conflict on American soil resonated deeply with the populace. President Woodrow Wilson, previously advocating for neutrality, now found himself under immense pressure to declare war. The impact of the Zimmermann telegram transcended the realm of mere words. It served as a tipping point in American involvement in the First World War. The blatant disregard for American sovereignty and the potential threat to national security fueled a surge of patriotism and a desire to punish German aggression. In April 1917, the United States declared war on Germany, entering the global conflict with a vengeance. The consequences of the Zimmermann telegram were far-reaching. The influx of American troops and resources bolstered the Allied war effort, ultimately contributing to Germany's defeat. Mexico, despite initial interest, ultimately declined the German offer, unwilling to risk a war on two fronts. The dream of regaining lost territories through German support faded into oblivion. The echoes of the Zimmermann telegram continue to resonate in the halls of international relations. It serves as a cautionary tale, highlighting the dangers of secret diplomacy and the potential for miscalculation in a world fraught with tension. The telegram reminds us of the power of public opinion and its ability to sway the course of nations, transforming a hesitant bystander into a decisive force on the global stage. A Desert Storm, the Arab Revolt and the Enigma of T.E. Lawrence. In 1916, a daring rebellion ignited the sands of Arabia, the Arab Revolt. This audacious uprising, spearheaded by the Hashemite Arabs and fueled by the enigmatic British officer T.E. Lawrence, aimed to overthrow Ottoman rule and carve out an independent Arab nation. Though ultimately achieving only partial success, the Arab Revolt reshaped the map of the Middle East and left an enduring legacy, forever entwined with the legend of Lawrence of Arabia. The stage for this epic desert drama was set across the vast expanse of the Arabian Peninsula, a region simmering with discontent under Ottoman control. The Hashemite Arabs, led by Sharif Hussein bin Ali, yearned for autonomy and a unified Arab state. The British, seeking to disrupt Ottoman control of the region and secure vital trade routes, saw an opportunity to exploit these aspirations. Enter T.E. Lawrence, a young British archaeologist with an intimate knowledge of Arab culture and language. Lawrence, captivated by the spirit of Arab nationalism, became a pivotal figure in the revolt. He served as a trusted advisor to Sharif Hussein, advocating for guerrilla warfare tactics and exploiting Ottoman vulnerabilities. The Arab Revolt erupted in June 1916, a desert storm of rebellion. Lawrence, leading ragtag bands of Arab fighters, orchestrated daring raids on Ottoman infrastructure, railways, bridges, and communication lines. These hit-and-run attacks, exploiting Ottoman weaknesses in desert warfare, sowed chaos and disruption across the region. Lawrence's brilliance lay not just in his tactical acumen but in his ability to bridge the cultural divide. He earned the respect of Arab leaders, portraying himself not as a colonial overlord but as a fellow warrior fighting for a shared cause. This fostered a sense of unity among disparate Arab tribes, essential for the success of the revolt. Despite the early successes, the Arab Revolt faced significant challenges. The Ottomans, though initially surprised, launched brutal counteroffensives. The vastness of the desert made logistical support a constant struggle for the Arab forces. Disagreements over the nature and extent of a future Arab state emerged between the Hashemites and the British, creating fissures within the movement. By 1918, with the tide of the First World War turning decisively against the Ottomans, the Arab revolt achieved its primary objective: the liberation of much of Arabia. However, the dream of a unified Arab nation remained elusive. British and French ambitions in the region clashed with Hashemite aspirations, leading to the carving up of the Ottoman Empire and the creation of new colonial mandates. The legacy of the Arab revolt remains a subject of debate. Lawrence, once celebrated as a hero, became a controversial figure, accused of manipulating Arab aspirations for British gain. The revolt itself, though a catalyst for Arab nationalism, failed to achieve its central goal: a single, independent Arab state. Yet, the echoes of this desert insurgency continue to resonate in the halls of history. The Arab revolt marked a pivotal moment in the struggle for Arab self-determination, sowing the seeds for future conflicts and shaping the complex political landscape of the Middle East. The enigmatic figure of T.E. Lawrence serves as a reminder of the power of individual leadership and the importance of bridging cultural divisions. A red storm descends, the October Revolution and the birth of a new world. In the tumultuous year of 1917, a revolutionary storm swept across Russia: the October Revolution. This dramatic seizure of power by the Bolsheviks, led by the enigmatic Vladimir Lenin, shattered the foundations of the Tsarist regime and ushered in a new era of communist ideology. The October Revolution, a potent cocktail of social unrest, political maneuvering, and ideological fervor, reshaped the geopolitical landscape and cast a long shadow over the 20th century. As the Tsarist regime floundered and the provisional government proved ineffectual, the Bolsheviks seized their opportunity. On a cold October night in 1917, armed Bolshevik units stormed the Winter Palace, the seat of Tsarist power. The poorly defended palace fell with surprising ease, marking the symbolic end of the Romanov dynasty. The October Revolution, though bloodless in its immediate aftermath, unleashed a wave of social and political upheaval. The Bolsheviks, under Lenin's ironclad leadership, consolidated their power, dissolving the provisional government and establishing a communist state. This dramatic shift in power structure sent shockwaves across Russia and the world. The impact of the October Revolution transcended the borders of Russia. It served as a beacon of hope for socialist movements worldwide, inspiring communist uprisings and ideological struggles in the years to come. The fear of a red tide sweeping across Europe became a dominant theme in Western foreign policy, leading to the Cold War standoff that would define the latter half of the 20th century. The legacy of the October Revolution remains a subject of fierce debate. For some, it was a necessary liberation from tyranny, a chance to build a new society based on equality and social justice. For others, it was a violent overthrow of a flawed but legitimate government, paving the way for a totalitarian regime with a devastating human cost. The echoes of this epic revolution continue to resonate in the halls of history. The October Revolution serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked social inequality and the dangers of revolutionary fervor. It highlights the power of ideology in shaping nations and the enduring struggle between tradition and radical change. A desperate gambit, the German Spring Offensive. In the crucible of the First World War, a final, colossal clash shook the Western Front: the German Spring Offensive. This desperate gamble, launched in early 1918, aimed to shatter Allied lines, secure a decisive victory, and end the war on German terms. However, this last hurrah, fueled by innovative tactics and sheer desperation, ultimately proved insufficient to overcome Allied resolve and the relentless tide of attrition. By 1918, Germany faced a dwindling manpower pool and low morale. The Allied blockade had strangled the German economy, and the prospect of defeat loomed large. German commanders, under the leadership of General Erich Ludendorff, devised a daring plan, a series of offensives designed to break through Allied lines and secure a swift victory before American troops arrived in force. On a crisp March morning in 1918, the curtain rose on this desperate gamble. A thunderous artillery barrage, the largest of the entire war, pounded Allied positions. German stormtroopers, utilizing innovative infiltration tactics and bypassing heavily defended strongpoints, surged forward. Initial successes were swift, with Allied lines buckling under the unexpected onslaught. The German Spring Offensive, codenamed Operation Michael, exploited a tactical advantage. By focusing on the junction between French and British forces, they aimed to exploit a potential weakness in Allied coordination. Early gains were substantial, with German troops pushing deep into enemy territory. The specter of a decisive German victory seemed to flicker on the horizon. However, the initial successes proved fleeting. Allied forces, bolstered by American reinforcements and a newfound sense of urgency, rallied to defend their positions. Desperate trench warfare resumed, with both sides locked in a bloody stalemate. The offensive became bogged down, German manpower reserves dwindled, and logistical nightmares strangled their advance. The German Spring Offensive, despite its initial momentum, ultimately failed to achieve its objectives. The offensive spirit waned, replaced by a grim realization of the futility of further attacks. Allied counter-offensives later in the year, fueled by fresh troops and a renewed sense of purpose, pushed the Germans back, ultimately leading to their defeat. The German Spring Offensive marked a turning point, not in favor of Germany, but in the sense that it exposed the limitations of offensive warfare. The offensive power of large armies, once thought invincible, had been blunted by the realities of trench warfare and withering defensive fire. The cost in human life was staggering, further highlighting the brutal nature of the conflict. The echoes of this epic clash continue to resonate in military history. The German Spring Offensive serves as a reminder of the limitations of military genius in the face of overwhelming attrition. It underscores the importance of logistics and manpower reserves in sustaining large-scale offensives. It stands as a stark reminder of the human cost of ambition and the enduring legacy of the Great War. A tide turned on the Marne, the Second Battle and the glimmer of hope. In the final months of the First World War, a flicker of hope emerged from the blood-soaked fields of France, the Second Battle of the Marne. This titanic clash, a desperate bid by the Germans to break the stalemate on the Western Front in 1918, became a turning point. Though initially successful, the German offensive faltered in the face of fierce Allied resistance, marking a shift in momentum and foreshadowing the eventual Allied victory. This epic confrontation unfolded on the war-scarred plains of northern France, a landscape already etched with the horrors of trench warfare. The First Battle of the Marne, in 1914, had thwarted a decisive German victory. By 1918, Germany, desperate to secure a win before American troops arrived in force, launched a series of offensives, aiming to shatter Allied lines and force a surrender. In July 1918, the curtain rose on this desperate gamble. A thunderous artillery barrage, echoing the opening act of the German Spring Offensive earlier that year, pounded Allied positions. German stormtroopers, utilizing the same infiltration tactics honed in previous offensives, surged forward, exploiting weaknesses in Allied defenses. Initial gains were significant, with German forces pushing deep into French territory, threatening Paris once again. The specter of another German victory loomed large. However, Allied forces, emboldened by fresh American troops and a renewed sense of purpose, refused to yield. A desperate defensive effort solidified along the Marne River, a line etched in memory from the First Battle. French and American troops, drawing on the lessons learned from previous German offensives, held firm, inflicting heavy casualties on the attackers. The tide began to turn. The German offensive, starved of fresh manpower and bogged down in a renewed stalemate, sputtered to a halt. Allied counter-offensives, launched with renewed vigor, pushed the Germans back, inflicting crippling losses and shattering their morale. The dream of a quick victory on the Western Front dissolved into a desperate struggle for survival. The Second Battle of the Marne served as a pivotal moment in the war. It marked the high tide of the German offensives, the point where their ambition finally outstripped their capabilities. The Allied defense not only thwarted the German advance but also revealed a newfound fighting spirit, fueled by American reinforcements and a growing sense of the war's endgame. The legacy of the Second Battle of the Marne is far-reaching. It shattered German illusions of a quick victory, forcing them back onto a strategic defensive. It served as a crucial morale booster for the Allies, offering a glimpse of a future where German dominance might finally be broken. The battle also underscored the growing importance of American manpower and firepower in the war effort. The echoes of this epic clash continue to resonate in the halls of military history. The Second Battle of the Marne serves as a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming odds. It highlights the importance of strategic planning, defensive tactics, and the critical role of fresh troops in tipping the balance of power on the battlefield. It stands as a testament to the enduring cost of ambition and the fragile hope that flickered amidst the carnage of the Great War. In the next chapter, we will cover the brutal murder of Russia's imperial family, as well as the Allied occupation of Constantinople, and the capitulation of the Central Powers.